Welcome to a print and play tutorial. Today I am going to look at the Dice Throne 2-player demo that I've just built and go through the components and how I built each one of them. This is from Dice Throne. Dice Throne is a 2-player dice game and I really like Dice Throne. I've got a lot of them in my collection and I'm currently waiting for the new missions to arrive, and that kind of motivated me to build the demo product, which is available on Print and Play Arcade, PnP Arcade. So Dice Throne is a great game. It's got some fantastic components. You get fold out boards, you've got dials, you've got tokens, you've got cards, and of course Dice Throne, you've got a set of embossed dice. And I thought, well, this is going to be quite a challenging print and play to build. But I had some time while I'm waiting for my missions and X-Men Dice Thrones to arrive from Kickstarter. So I thought, well, let's see how hard it is to build. And so I'm going to go through today all the different components and show you what tools I used to build it, in case this is something that you might want to consider building in the future. The first thing, obviously you're going to need a color printer because all the components are in color. The first thing I printed out was the boards. So I haven't done them as fold out boards, I've just done them as normal sheeted boards. So I printed those out and then I've got a trimmer which allows me to cut straight lines. It's got a little line on there, so that's what I use for cutting out most things when I do my print and play. It's a Fisker trimmer. So I cut out the cards. Then I have got a corner rounder. So this is a Neo corner rounder, which is a little bit more advanced than my previous one. It does multiple sizes. I've done all the corners in medium. So I did that to the paper. Then I've got a whole lot of A4 laminating pouches, and they go into my A3 laminator. And so this allows me to laminate up to A3 size things. So you do your lamination, then they go back in the trimmer, cut them out, and then you're back to the corner rounder. And so that gives you a nice laminated glossy feel. Not quite as nice as the cardboard fold outs that you get in the commercial Dice Throne, but not too bad. So I'm quite happy with those. They turned out okay. So the next thing I'm going to look at the cards. So the cards were really easy. So they just got cut out. They are again corner rounded with the corner rounder. There wasn't a backing for this, so I thought, well, I'd make my own backing. That was a little bit more work because I had to find some paper. So I just got some craft paper, different colors, one for the Barbarian, one for the Moon Elf. Use the measurements that you've got on your trimmer so you can basically line up how big you want them, and then just strips of card sized components. Then they go through the corner rounder again, so we've got rounded corners. So I had to make a lot of those, and then they just go onto the cards. I haven't made them in card, I've just done them on GSM 80. They still shuffle okay, and then they just go to sleeves. And these sleeves are Catan English. So this is sleeve size is 56 by 82. For cards, the 52 to 80. So they're not perfect, but they're the ones that fit in the way that I printed them. You could resize the cards when you did the printing. That's entirely up to you. So you get a set of cards. That's another good component. We may put the completed components there on the right. Okay, tokens. So usually the tokens are quite small. I like making tokens with poker chips. So particularly if you go to charity stores, fairs, you can get poker chips dirt cheap, and they have a nice feel. You get that kind of weightiness to them. So I resized the printouts for the tokens. I think they end up at about 39 millimeters. Then you want to cut out the perfect circles. The easiest way to do that is get one of these, which is a a hole punch, but this is actually I think it's 39, either 38 or 39, so it's the perfect size for doing cards. Where's that bit of paper? So the trick with this is you get your printout, so they're printed out, and you put it in so you can line it up in the hole, and then bam. I typically do it 2 at a time, because if you put it 1 at a time, particularly with light paper, often it gets crumpled, so you want to remember that. So that gets you all your circles out. When you're doing it, you basically cut lines. So say if you had a whole lot of say you had a whole lot of printouts along here, you would cut out all of these ones, then cut off the debris, and clip out the next ones and cut off the debris as you go through, and that makes it really easy to cut those out. So you got your tokens, then you just get some glue. Got a normal glue stick. You get your poker chip. Make sure that it's glued right around the edge, quite generously, and then you just push it on. They're not gloss, they're just paper on the top, but they work really well. And you've got that kind of tactile feel of nice big chunky tokens, which I like. Okay, so the other thing we need is dials. These are the kind of trickier things. I've never done dials before. So the dials I just glued onto card, then I cut round. So you do need a pair of scissors. I find the best way to get a smooth circle is to do it in straight lines. If you just keep on turning it around and do straights, you get a nice curve. Rather than trying to curve it around, often it's very hard to get that perfect curve. These ones, I just jabbed the scissors through, made a hole. But for the tops, I've got a hole maker. And so this is, I think this is for doing leather binding or something, and this allows you to make perfect little holes, which is great for making dials, particularly for this dial. So what I did is I chopped out the circles on here, and I cut those out, and then I could get my device into here, and then I could pump out the middle ones. So that allowed me to do that one in a perfect circle. In order to get them turning, I found some snap binders that I picked up for a different project, but they turned out to be really well if you reverse them. So you put the back at the top, you can then just push it through, and there you go, and then you've got your dial, and that then works. That's, yeah, this is the combat point dial, so that really works well. So there's those. These ones, this is the double, same principle. Just put it on cardboard, cut it out. These ones were fine for my clipper. They just go into there, bang, knock a perfect hole in the middle. When I did it, I thought the hearts were supposed to be popped out, so I punched those out as well in my enthusiasm. But then I had to cover them because that was a mistake. That happens. And then with this, I used the same when I did the center. So to take out the center, I took out the corners, punched circles for the corners, then used my scissors just to tidy up the edges. And that makes it really easy. Make sure I get these around the right way. And yeah, then you just use your fasteners, and that's really easy. And then you've got your health dials. They work really well. That's my health dials done. They were the hardest thing, I think, for this one that I hadn't done before. Then, of course, you need dice. You need the famous dice. So with the dice, I start with blanks that you can get from, these are wooden blanks that you can get from any kind of hobby store. What I then do is I get a black marker, and I will go round the edges. I don't fill in the whole dice because that doesn't matter, but it's always a good bit of prep to do the edges, and that means that if anything does, you do some kind of error with anything else, it doesn't show through. So you do it with your dice. That was easy. I then printed them out as a sheet. I've got another tutorial about doing dices if you want to watch that, because I then use the corner rounder on all the corners, and then I just glued them on. Just glued them on with my glue stick. I posted a picture of this on one of the forums, and someone rightly pointed out that I forgot to put numbers on when I printed out. So I took the images for the dice off the sheets, but they should have a number on each one of them. And because I'd sized it badly, it was hard to do the number. So what I've ended up doing is I got myself a white paint pen and I put dots. And so you can see there I have dotted them. So that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 6. And so I've got little, basically like your standard pips on a dice that then allow me to do my dice. And you know, they've got a nice feel to them. They're not as heavy, or they're not embossed like a normal dice throwing set, but they work. And so there you go. I think that is, oh, and then you've got some double-sided the reference cards. But otherwise, there you go. That is how I built the 2-player demo for dice throwing. It's available for free for download at Print to Play Arcade. I'll put a link below. Don't forget to subscribe and like.